Selected short stories. The Mystery of Room 342. The following story is said to have been taken from the secret archives of the Paris police from the time of the Great Exhibition of 1889. Several writers have told the story. It seems to have gone round the world. Here it is given for the first time in the form of conversation. The story opens in Bombay. Captain Day, who was stationed in India, has just died, leaving his wife and daughter of 17 alone in India. Mrs. Day: "At last I have some good news for you, my dear. As you know, I was down at the officers' mess for lunch today, and the General told me that his new assistant is willing to take over the house and all the furniture as well." Miss Day: "I'm so delighted to hear it, mother. I never did think it was a good idea to take any of our things back to England with us. I know you can't help thinking of Daddy very often, but I'm glad we are leaving the things behind. You would be thinking of Daddy sitting there reading and writing every time you looked at his desk." Mrs. Day: "Perhaps you're right, John. But you will understand that many of these things have a great sentimental value." Miss Day: "I understand, mother, but we have to begin life anew in England, and we shall do it ever so much better without all these things around you." Mrs. Day: "I'm sorry that as soon as we get to England it would be necessary to go across to Paris and sign certain papers in connection with your father's property. I should just like to go to England and stay there." Miss Day: "I've a very good idea, mother. Many of the boats call at Marseille. I suggest that we get off the boat at Marseille and take the train from there to Paris. Then you could sign the papers, and we could continue our journey to England. In fact, it would be just as quick as going by boat the whole way." Mrs. Day: "That's an excellent suggestion, John, and I think I'll go down to the shipping company in the morning to find out when the first boat is leaving for Marseille." A few weeks later at Marseille. Mrs. Day: "I feel rather nervous about the hotel in Paris, John. From the papers I have been reading, it seems as if the whole world has come to Paris for the exhibition. I remember once, soon after we were married, your father and I stayed at the Crillon. I think we had better go along to the post office and send a telegram for a double room. It will only be for 1 or 2 nights at the most. I'd like to stay longer so that you could see something of the exhibition, but I have not been feeling very well for the last few days." Miss Day: "In that case it's much more important for us to get back to England as soon as possible. I'm sure that after a few weeks in the beautiful English countryside you will begin to feel much better. And mother, there will be other chances for me of seeing Paris later on. I'm simply longing to see my own country and to visit the places that you and Daddy come from. England is the place for me at the moment, just as much as it is for you." 24 hours later. Mrs. Day: "In a few minutes we shall be running into the Gare de Lyon. I do hope that the Crillon was able to find a room for us. I must say, John, that I have never been on a journey that has made me so tired. I have only one desire at the moment, and that is to lie down on my bed as soon as possible." Miss Day: "Poor mother, you do look tired and worn out. Still, if there is no room for us at the Crillon, we should be able to get a room elsewhere, for I understand that Paris is just full of hotels. We are running into the station now. Oh, mother, we are lucky. I have just seen a man with the name of our shipping company on his cap. If we are not able to get in at the Crillon, he will know where to send us." Calling to the man: Hello there! Will you give us some help, please?" Shipping company man: "Why, certainly, mademoiselle. What can I do for you?" Miss Day: "Mother and I left one of your boats at Marseille and are proceeding via Paris to England. We sent a wire from Marseille to the Crillon ordering a double room. If we find the hotel is full up, perhaps you could recommend another one to us. Shipping company man. Certainly, mademoiselle. I will come with you myself and explain to the driver that he is to take you to the Crillon first, and then I'll give him the name of a hotel where you will certainly find an empty room if there is no room for you at the Crillon. Miss Day, that's very kind of you. Shipping company man. The pleasure is all mine. Will you please show me your luggage, and then I'll get a porter? Then perhaps you would follow me to the cab. A few minutes later at the Crillon. Miss Day, I'm Miss Day, and this is my mother, Mrs. Day. We sent you a wire from Marseille ordering a double room. Hotel clerk. Yes, mademoiselle, you are very lucky indeed. We were quite full up, but just before your telegram arrived, we received another from a client who was not able to come. It's only a single room, but we have put in an extra bed for mademoiselle. Miss Day. That's excellent. What's the number of the room? Clerk. Number 342, mademoiselle. Here is the key, and I will get a porter to take your things up to your room. In the hotel bedroom. Miss Day. Well, here we are, mother. Everything has turned out well. It could hardly be better. Tomorrow you can go and sign those papers, and then we can catch the first train for England. Now that we are getting so near to England, I'm getting quite excited. It won't be very long before we are living in our own little house in the beautiful English countryside. I suggest that we wash and then go down to the restaurant for dinner. Mrs. Day, I hope you'll forgive me, John, if I don't come to dinner with you. I feel far too tired to eat and could not face all the people in the restaurant. I'm sorry that you won't have anything. I'll change and go down alone then. The following morning. Miss Day. Hello? Good morning, mother. I hope you've slept well. Mrs. Day. Good morning, John. I'm afraid I didn't sleep very well. But that doesn't mean anything. When you get too tired, it's often very difficult to fall asleep. Miss Day. I'm very sorry to hear it, mother. But now I'll ring for some breakfast. A few minutes later, a maid appears with a tray. Miss Day, here's a cup of tea, mother. It doesn't look quite so strong as the tea in India, but better than I expected French tea to be. Mrs. Day, thank you, my dear. It doesn't look too bad. Miss Day, you must really try it. I'll do you good. And then we can start thinking about those papers that want signing. Mrs. Day, I don't feel very much like getting up and going out just now. I should prefer to wait until this afternoon or tomorrow morning. It might be a good idea if you went around to see the man and asked him if it were possible for him to come here. That would be much easier still. I'll be all right again by tomorrow, and then we can start on the last stage of our journey. Miss Day, all right, mother. I'll certainly go around and see him. But first of all, I'm going straight down to see that the hotel doctor comes to see you without delay. A little later, mother and daughter are again talking in their room. Miss Day, the manager was in his office all right, and he promised me to arrange for the doctor to come at once. There is a knock at the door. Miss Day, I expect that's the doctor. I'll go and open the door. Doctor, good morning, mademoiselle. My name is Dr. Dupont. The manager tells me that your mother is not well. Miss Day, good morning, Dr. Dupont. Will you please come in? It was very good of you to come so quickly. This is my mother, Dr. Dupont. Doctor, good morning, madame. I do not speak the English language so well. I'm sure you will forgive me. First of all, I will take your temperature and pulse, and then I can ask you some questions. A minute or two later. Doctor, may I ask you where you have come from? Mrs. Day, My daughter and I left Bombay after the death of my husband, and as I have some business to do in Paris, we travelled overland from Marseille, arriving here yesterday evening. Doctor, I understand that you are feeling very tired and that the appetite has gone. Is it not so? Mrs. Day. Yes, doctor, to be quite honest, I felt too tired to get up this morning, and now I seem to have lost my appetite altogether. Doctor. Yes, madame. When people are overtired, they do not feel like eating. I will send for some medicine for you that will help you. I'll see you again, madame, but now I must say adieu. To Miss Day. Perhaps mademoiselle will come with me? Downstairs. Doctor. I'm sorry to say that it's very serious, mademoiselle. You must not think of continuing your journey to England tomorrow. It might be better to move your mother to a hospital. Of course, I shall arrange everything for you, but mademoiselle, it will be necessary for you to go at once to my house and fetch some medicine for your mother. I'm very sorry, mademoiselle, that my house is at the other end of Paris. It's very unfortunate that I do not have a telephone in the house. The best and quickest way would be for mademoiselle to go to my house herself. I will give mademoiselle a note from my wife, telling her what to do. Miss Day. But doctor, if you live so far away, wouldn't it be much quicker to get the medicine from a chemist's? Doctor. Mademoiselle, this is a very special medicine of my own, and it will be much quicker for you to go to my house for it. You may trust me, mademoiselle, that I will do the very best for you. Now I must write a note to my wife, giving her instruction, and then I will get a cab that will take you to my house, and afterward bring you back here with the medicine. The doctor wrote a note, gave it to the girl, and having got a cab for her, gave the driver instructions. The girl was very impatient, especially as the cab seemed to crawl along as slowly as possible. She got the idea that the doctor's house was at the very end of the world. Several times she thought that the cab was going in the wrong direction, for when she looked out of the window, she was certain that they were going along streets that they had already been through once. At last, however, the cab stopped in front of a house. The girl got out and rang the bell. She had to ring the bell several times before the door was opened. Miss Day. Good morning. I'm Miss Day. I have a note from Monsieur Dupont. Mrs. Dupont. Good morning, mademoiselle. Please come inside and sit down. I'm Mrs. Dupont. I'll see what my husband has to say. She reads the note. I will attend to it at once, mademoiselle, but it will take some time to prepare the medicine. Won't you sit down until it's ready? The wait seemed to have no end. Hundreds of times she got up from her chair and walked to the door of the room, and then went back and sat down again. Sometimes she felt like running back to her mother without the medicine, but having come so far for it, she waited on. She was surprised to hear the telephone ring, because she remembered the doctor's words, that he had not got one. The long wait brought tears to her eyes as she thought of her mother lying in bed at the hotel, waiting for her. At last, however, the medicine was ready, and she went out to the cab. The drive back to the hotel was even slower than the drive out, and when they got back to the center of the town, the cab driver stopped outside a hotel that was unknown to her. She now felt certain that something was wrong. A few yards away she noticed a young man who, to judge by his clothes, could not be anything else but English, and although modest by nature, she jumped out of the cab and ran up to him. He said, "Excuse me for addressing a perfect stranger, but you are English, aren't you?" Stranger with cordiality. "Oh, yes, I am English, all right. You look worried. Can I help you in any way?" Miss Day. My name is Miss Day. My mother and I are staying at the Crillon. As she wasn't very well this morning, I got the hotel doctor to see her. He told me that it was serious, and sent me off to his house at the other end of Paris to fetch some medicine for her. I just don't understand things. The doctor gave the driver instructions, and he drove as slowly as possible, very often driving, I am sure, in the wrong direction, for we drove up several streets more than once. Then I had to wait for ages at the doctor's house. While the medicine was prepared, the doctor said that he couldn't phone his wife as he had no phone. But while I was waiting, I heard the telephone ring in the next room. Then on the way back, the driver drove slower than ever. And now instead of taking me back to the Crillon, he has brought me here. I just can't understand it all. I'll introduce myself. My name is John Bates. I'm a junior secretary at the embassy here. I'll come along with you as far as the Crillon, for it does all sound rather strange. At the Crillon, they find the door of number 342 locked and go down to the clerk. Miss Day, can I have my key, please? Whom do you wish to see, mademoiselle? I registered here last night with my mother, and we were given number 342. Please give me my key, clerk. But surely you are wrong, mademoiselle. You could not have come here yesterday evening. It must have been some other hotel. What did you say was the number of the room, mademoiselle? Number 342. Clerk, but I do not understand, mademoiselle, for number 342 has been taken by Monsieur Le. He often stays at the hotel. He is a very good friend of ours. Miss Day, but I did register here yesterday evening with my mother. I demand to see the registration papers which were filled in by people yesterday. Clerk, as you wish, mademoiselle, but you will certainly find that you have not registered here. She goes through the previous day's registration papers several times, but fails to find those filled in by her mother and herself. Miss Day, no, I'm far from satisfied. As a matter of fact, you were the one that gave us the papers to fill in. I remember you quite distinctly on account of that ring you have on your finger with a blood-red stone in it. Clerk, but I never saw mademoiselle before in my life. Perhaps mademoiselle is not well. It's very hot today. Miss Day, my mother wasn't well this morning, so I made the manager arrange for the doctor to call and see her. Both the doctor and the manager will remember me. Will you please call the manager? Clerk, speaking in a tone of resignation. If you think it will help, mademoiselle, I will call the manager. The clerk returns with the manager, who does not seem to recognize her either. Bates, don't you think the doctor who is in charge of your mother would recognize you? To the manager. Perhaps I had better introduce myself. John Bates, a secretary of the British Embassy here. I think that I must insist that you call the doctor. After a 20 minutes' wait, the doctor appears. Doctor, I understand that mademoiselle and monsieur wish to see me. In what way can I be of assistance to you? Miss Day, oh, doctor, I have now got the medicine for mother. Have you seen her again? Can you tell me how long it will be before we are able to continue our journey to England? I don't understand these people at the hotel. They say they have never seen me before. Tell them, doctor, that they are wrong. Tell them that you saw my mother in room 349 this morning, and then sent me to your house for some medicine for her. Doctor, I think you must be suffering from the heat. Perhaps I could arrange to get something for you. You are looking extremely white and nervous. But, doctor, what about my mother? Don't worry about me. How's my mother? Will it be necessary to send her to hospital? I'm sorry, mademoiselle, but I have never seen your mother. Until a few minutes ago, I had never seen you either, but I should be pleased to help you. Miss Day, take me away from here, otherwise I'll go quite mad, just like these people here. John Bates, who is quite sure that the girl is telling the truth, although he does not know why he should be so sure after hearing the clerk, the manager, and the doctor at the hotel, takes her to a small restaurant. Here, with much difficulty, he succeeds in getting her to eat a little, while at the same time she tells him the whole of the story from the time of the death of her father in India until the happenings of the same morning. Bates, now, Miss Day, I'll tell you at once that I believe every word of your story, and I'm prepared to do everything I can to help you. To be true, I'm only a junior secretary at the embassy. but I'm sure that they will help too. Before I tell them the story, I think it would be a very good idea to be able to prove as much of it as possible. Now, what I suggest is this. You must stay somewhere while we're looking into things. I have got a room at the hotel. It's quite a small one, but it's clean and cheap. I'm sure I could get them to find a room for you there. As soon as you are fixed there, I suggest you go to see the shipping company by whose boat you traveled to Marseille. I can get them to confirm that you and your mother were passengers as far as Marseille. You can also get hold of the man from the shipping company who helped you at the station. Through him, it may be possible to get into touch with the cab driver who drove you to the Crillon. When we have this information, I can go to the people at the embassy and get them to do something. Miss Day, gratefully, oh, Mr. Bates, I don't know how to thank you. After listening to those people at the Crillon, I almost began to think that I was mad myself. It's so nice of you to trust me. I think your idea is excellent. But when I went to the doctor's this morning, I didn't take my purse with me, so that I'm now entirely without money. I have to mention it to you. I have never before had to do such a thing in all my life. Bates, you need not worry about the hotel bill, for I can get the people at the embassy to look after that. And I'll be pleased to help you until you have time to see the man who has the papers which your mother is going to sign. I think you're wonderful, Mr. Bates. I don't know how I'll ever repay you for your kindness. I'm only too glad to be able to do a little for you, since we are going to work together for a time. Wouldn't it make matters easier if you drop the Mr. Bates and start calling me John right away? All right, you call me Joanne then. Bates spent the afternoon talking to the shipping company. Their representative, who was at the Gare de Lyon, and the cab driver all confirmed the story the girl had told him. He then placed the matter before a senior official of the embassy the same evening at the hotel. Bates, now John, I want you to think hard and tell me exactly what furniture was in room 342 at the Crillon. The embassy is going to arrange through the French police to get permission to look at room 342 perhaps tomorrow. I remember the curtains very distinctly. They were cream-colored. Then the chairs were covered with some red material. The wallpaper I can also remember, for I did not like it. It was cream-colored too, and was covered with big red roses. The bed was just an ordinary wooden bed. Nothing special about it. There are the most important things that I can remember. That's quite enough. The following afternoon, Miss Day is waiting at the door of the hotel for the return of Bates. After a long wait, he appears. Oh, John, do tell me if you were able to arrange the matter with the French police. Yes, Joanne. The first secretary of the embassy arranged everything. We went to the Crillon this afternoon, but found that everything in the room was quite different from the description given by you. The curtains were blue and white, the chairs were covered with grey material, and the wallpaper was white and had many small flowers. But now we come to a most surprising thing. The wallpaper had only just been put up. I noticed one or two places where it was not yet quite dry. Oh, John, what can it all mean? I wonder where poor mother is. I have got the idea that I shall never see her again. Cheer up, Joanne. I'll get to the bottom of this matter, even if it should take us weeks. When we had finished looking at room 342, I thought it might be a good idea to try and find the name and address of the man who does the paper hanging for the hotel. It wasn't very easy, but, as usual, a little money helped. So I suggest that we go round to see him as soon as we have had some dinner. Later in the evening, at the paperhanger's shop. Paperhanger. So you want to know if I papered a room at the Crillon yesterday? I can't understand why you should be interested in my work. But it's very important for this lady to know, and if you did, which room it was. So it is important for this young lady to know, is it? Well, like all good Frenchmen, I should be pleased to help a nice young lady. But these are hard times, and paperhangers are not overpaid for their work. I know that room 342 was papered yesterday. I was there this afternoon and saw that the paper was not yet quite dry. What I really want to know is whether you can give us any information. If the information were worth it, I should be ready to give 25 francs for it. Well, for a nice young lady, and you mean that for 25 francs you might tell us something. All right. If you have anything to tell us, the money is yours. Well, I was sent for suddenly. Yesterday morning, when I got to the Crillon, they were busy moving furniture out of room number 342. I was told to put up fresh papers as quickly as possible. I tried to find out the reason for it, monsieur, for it is not only women who are curious in this world. No, nobody could or would explain anything to me. That is all I can tell you. Here is the money. I think you have earned it. Are you certain that another 25 francs would not help you to remember still more? If I could tell you any more, I would do it for the sake of the young lady. A fortnight later. Well, my dear Drouin, I have now tried all the servants at the Crillon who might be able to tell us what happened. I cannot get a word out of them. There are probably very few that know the truth, and they have been well paid to keep their mouths shut. This day I have given up all hope of ever seeing mother again. You have been wonderful to me, John. Without you to help and comfort me, I don't know what I should have done. Nothing has ever given me greater pleasure, Joanne. I am not looking forward to the day when you go to your father's people in England. I shall miss you, Joanne, but I hope to make you stay a little longer. There is still one chance left of being able to find out what happened. The first secretary told me today that he is very friendly with one of the heads of the French police. This man has been in America for some time, but he will be returning in 4 or 5 days. The first secretary thinks that he will be able to get a true story out of him. Won't you wait, Joanne, until the two of them have had a chat about the affair? Oh, John, although I know that I shall never see mother again, I should feel much happier if only I knew what had happened to her. It would seem strange to go back to England to Daddy's people and tell them that I had just given up. Of course I will wait. A week later, Bates with a very serious face. The first secretary has talked to his friend the police. Oh, John, I can tell from your face that the news is not good. I'll try to be brave. Tell me the whole story, just what really happened. You are a very brave girl, Joanne. The best I have ever met. I'm afraid you'll never see your mother again. Well, tell me, John. I will try to be brave. Well, I must tell you that the doctor who came to see your mother recognized at once that she was suffering from the Black Plague. He sent you off so that he would have time to remove your mother to the hospital. Your poor mother died there that afternoon. The French did not want the news of your mother's death to get into the French papers. The exhibition had started only a short time before, and they were afraid that the news of a visitor dying of the Black Plague would cause Paris to be emptied of visitors at once. It was agreed that the whole thing must be kept secret. Poor mother! And yet I am glad that I now know the truth. I'll try to forget the troubles I have had in Paris. I shall be glad to get to England. That will help me to forget. I hope you will not forget everything connected with Paris, Joanne. No, John, I'll never forget you. I shan't give you the chance, Joanne. In a month's time I'll be coming to England on leave.